as a consumer, you might care about whether food is organic, you might care about the health aspects of food, how it's produced, that type of thing. I think when you start talking about someone as a citizen consumer, the citizen part of it opens up all sorts of questions about how we use the land, how some of the impacts of agriculture on natural resources. I think the citizen perspective is broader. I mean, it's necessarily broader because as a citizen, you're participating in a democracy. You're participating in decisions that have very far-reaching implications for the way we live and in the country as a whole. I think it is safe to say that if the students at Rollins were, in a constructive way, asking for certain food choices, I mean, if they're asking for more local food or organic or whatever, I think Sodexo would find a way to respond. I mean, the company must have a means for adjusting to and evolving with changing consumer demand. I mean, otherwise they would have gone out of business long ago.
Say, if we decide to change, example, 50% of the food we serve at the dining room has to be organic and sustainable. It has a financial impact. It is the college open to absorb part of that financial impact? What we gonna sacrifice, to instead of provide $29 pound of chicken breast, instead of provide $5.79 per pound of chicken breast organic. How we gonna accomplish that is gonna depend what we sacrifice as a college, as a department, as a student body.
On an individual level, there's no action that I can't do at this point. I'm in college. I can barely afford McDonald's at this point. I mean, it's sad but true. I can't do anything. But as a collective, being a college student at Rollins who supposedly wants us to become global citizens, I feel that it is our duty to kind of tear off the blinders on people on this campus, especially the administration, and have them change what we as students are eating.
I mean, if you want to see the food system change, we have to be willing to pay the money for the changes in quality and sustainability and things that we want to be there. Otherwise, I mean, right now everything is the lowest common denominator.
How many people eat in the campus center healthy food in comparison of the fried food? At this moment, the balance is completely uneven. It's 90% of the people, unfortunately, like more fried food than any healthy food, even if you provide the options. And I can put you an example very clear here. When we opened the vegan station, all of the product we use in the vegan vegetarian station is sustainable and a lot of organic, especially in the veg. I don't want to lie to you. We increase the consumption in that station, but not as much as we expected. We expected to grow 50% of the consumption in that station, and we grow only 15. People really have choice It's a personal choice if they want to eat healthy or not. We cannot force them to eat healthy as much as we want it, and we like it, as much as marketing we want to do. We use Borset Deli, no preservatives, no probiotics, no antibiotics, no nothing, no fillings, no nothing. Most of people, they don't care about that. The only they care is about to eat a ham and cheese sandwich. Doesn't matter if the bread is organic or not. Doesn't matter if the meat you're using or not. They don't really care. Other people, they're very conscious, but it's in a small group.
While it is frustrating, I think sometimes when the price of food that's locally produced and organic is higher and people don't fully understand why, I think that can be very frustrating. I think part of the process of changing the food system is helping people understand what it is they're actually paying for. We pay less for food than any society in the history of the world as a percentage of our income, or if you want to think of it in terms of how many hours somebody has to work to buy a loaf of bread. We pay so little for food, and my feeling is you get what you paid for. You get what you pay for.
For anything to change, people have to care. If they just want McDonald's because it tastes good and whatever else, then it's not going to change for them. But if enough people decide that it's a problem and that something needs to happen and start making different choices, then it will. But they first have to be informed, and then they have to be able to make those choices based on the information available. There needs to be more information.
This has to be a partnership. This is an educational institution. It has to be a fundamental part. The food service part is very important for the students. What is the college doing, to help the students understand better the food aspect?
Or whether it's like a moral thing for the company. I mean, it probably goes both ways. It's like you're putting something into someone else's body. You should probably take that responsibility pretty seriously.
There's almost no flow of information about what went into producing that food that you're about to consume. The primary responsibility lies with all of us. Now, I think companies should be responsible, and the information they provide should be accurate, and I do think as much as possible they should be responsible corporate citizens, if you want to think of it that way. But ultimately, I think the responsibility comes back to us as consumers, as citizens, to demand that we have that information and that we have a food system that actually reflects other values other than just simply economic values.
Education. Education is the most important part. Just marketing. Today we featuring locally grown strawberry smoothie. It's not enough. It's why.
Well, it depends on what you mean by the term education, because there's education as sort of a flow of information to the consumer or the citizen, but then there's education that's maybe a deeper kind of education, which is having a more of an experiential component to people's knowledge of food. I think would be really crucial. I mean, we're the first generation in the history of the world that really doesn't have a good sense of where their food comes from.
But I think if we incorporate the educational part from the beginning.
I think the biggest change that would benefit the people is just general awareness. Start them when they're young. Make sure that it gets into people's heads. I mean,
and I said from the beginning, when the orientations for the new students start, have a specific section. Let us, as a food service department, have a small session for an hour. We bring our dietitians, maybe, from the company. We explain, what is the well-balanced plate. When it's 50% protein, 25% fruit, 25% of vegetables. Why we do that? Why we try to keep less than 800 milligrams of sodium per day, or why we try to keep a 600 calories per plate. What is the reason behind that? Why we're trying to sell that to the students? Not just because we are Sodexo and that's the marketing we're doing and that's it. No, it's an educational part behind all of that, and we have to find a way how to have a partnership with our customers, our clients. In this case, the college.